Small Town Weirdo, a variety of horror and pop culture creations. Tell us about your brand.
Small Town Weirdo was born out of the pandemic. It was one of those silver linings, I guess you could say. Um, I'm an actor as well, and when everything stopped, I went back to my painting roots and kind of experimented with fabric and fabric paint. Being a lover of horror and quirky movies like Tim Burton, growing up with those movies, I wanted to create a brand that didn't just feel like a horror brand, but felt like it could expand into like a quirkier kind of world. So Small Town Weirdo kind of came from that small town hero phrase and kind of flipped it just because I growing up was an artsy kid, definitely felt like an outcast, and I wanted this brand to feel like a way to take that power back.
You are super talented. And
Thank you.
even in the Maritimes, a lot of people have been buying your products and wearing it. That's how I first caught on to your brand. So, like you mentioned, we are kind of a bit of outcasts, especially as horror fans, bit of weirdos ourselves. So, why is it
Yep.
important for you to include inclusion and equality through your messaging of your brand?
I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and just like I do with my production company I have with my husband, with Small Town Weirdo, my art brand, kind of giving power to that underdog, the outcast, the final boy, the final girl. So I wanted to kind of take the words like weirdo and queer and other phrases that I felt that were ugly and grotesque growing up and kind of wear that across my chest and feel proud, but also show my love of the horror world and the quirky world and something that's a little off center.
Well, you do have a new Pride collection. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I started doing painted jackets, and then when that kind of built momentum, I wanted to expand into some other price points for merchandise, and I created t-shirts. And I was so thrilled when Jamie Lee Curtis wore a Final Girl shirt on the set of Halloween Ends. And when that kind of took off, or at least kind of got eyes on it, I wanted to expand into Final Boy and Final Queer, and then I wanted to do a Pride variant. So I have like a rainbow version of all the phrases I have, and some of my painted jackets are kind of like a rainbow variant as well. The horror community and the queer community, they share a bond.
I think a lot of people don't understand that within the horror genre, horror is queer. Being queer, it is centralized in the genre and wrapped in and deep rooted way back. So a lot of people may not know that if they're new horror fans. And I think it's important to celebrate Pride. What does queer horror represent to you?
Well, I don't think I realized it growing up that the queer undertones and so much horror. It really was until my 20s and 30s that when I found like my tribe of people and we all watched the same movies and that we realized like the messaging and the inclusion that was there that wasn't really like beating you over the head. Even like when you think of Frankenstein and like those universal monsters that were like, hunted down and chased and like made to feel like a monster, like it's that who's a monster in society, the monster of society itself. And that takes place in a lot of movies. We explore that in our films that we make.
So
Right.
you were recently working on a short as well, weren't you?
Yeah, so my husband and I have a production company called Molecule Productions. We both love horror, and also we want to showcase kind of that messaging, inclusion, and equality. And we just did a LGBTQ werewolf short film that is a prequel to a larger feature that we've created over the years that is in the works. Of course, the strike and everything happening here put a pause on everything, but we are really excited to kind of get back into it once things are settled.
Like you mentioned, the strike, it's a pretty big deal, really, all across the world right now.
We actually live just a few blocks from the Paramount studio gate, so like if I had the windows open, you could hear everyone picketing and the honking horns, and we support it. It has to happen, but yeah, we're kind of in that space again where what can we do to pivot while we're on pause? So our productions have kind of taken a hit, but I'm using this time to really dive into my art again as we support the writers and the actors and directors.